At 11:47 p.m. on October 15, 2019, Sarah Chen sent what would become the most haunting text message her family would ever receive. Just got to the parking garage. Something doesn't feel right. If you don't hear from me in 30 minutes, call the police. That was 4 years ago. Sarah never made it home that night. Sarah wasn't just another statistic. She was a 24-year-old nursing student at Denver General Hospital, just 3 months away from graduation. Her friends described her as the kind of person who would stay late to comfort a patient's family, who remembered everyone's birthday, who had this infectious laugh that could fill an entire room. Her mother, Linda, still keeps Sarah's coffee mug on the kitchen counter. The one with the faded "World's Future Best Nurse" text that Sarah got as a joke gift from her younger brother. She used it every morning, Linda tells me, her voice barely above a whisper. She'd make her coffee extra strong because she said it helped her think clearer during her clinical rotations. Sarah had dreams. Big ones. She wanted to work in pediatric oncology, to be the nurse who could make kids smile even on their worst days. She'd already been accepted into the graduate program at Children's Hospital. Her acceptance letter is still pinned to the bulletin board in her childhood bedroom, exactly where she left it. But Sarah Chen's story isn't just about the bright future that was stolen from her. It's about the 11 hours that changed everything, the digital breadcrumbs that led investigators down a rabbit hole of deception, and the shocking discovery that would turn this missing person case into something far more sinister. It started as an ordinary Tuesday. Sarah had just finished a grueling 12-hour shift in the ICU. Security cameras show her leaving the hospital at 11:15 p.m. Her scrubs wrinkled, her hair pulled back in the same messy bun she'd worn since nursing school started. She looked tired but not afraid. Not yet. Her car was parked on the 3rd floor of the hospital's parking garage, the same spot she'd used for months. Sarah was a creature of habit. She always parked in space 3B14 because it was directly under a security light and just 20 steps from the elevator. Safety first, her father had taught her. The security footage shows Sarah walking toward her car, keys in hand, phone pressed to her ear. She's talking to someone, but the audio is too poor to make out words. At 11:43 p.m., she ends the call and approaches her blue Honda Civic. That's when something changed. What happened in those next few minutes would perplex investigators for months. Because according to the parking garage security system, Sarah's car never left the garage that night. But Sarah simply vanished. The first responding officer, Detective Maria Santos, arrived at 12:23 a.m. Sarah's car was found exactly where she'd parked it. Doors unlocked, her purse sitting on the passenger seat with her wallet, ID, and $67 in cash untouched. Her phone was gone. But it wasn't just any phone. Sarah was obsessive about backing up everything to the cloud. Her digital life, photos, messages, call logs, location data, was all there, waiting to be uncovered. What investigators found in that data would launch an investigation spanning 3 states and uncover a web of lies that no one saw coming. You see, Sarah had been living a double life, and someone had found out. For months before her disappearance, Sarah had been receiving anonymous messages. Not threatening ones, not at first. They started innocent enough. Comments about her daily routine, mentions of places she'd been, details about her life that only someone watching closely would know. I saw you at the coffee shop on 5th Street yesterday. You look tired. Are you taking care of yourself? Your mom posted about your clinical rotation. Pediatrics, right? The kids must love you. That blue Honda of yours could use a wash. Space 3B14 isn't the cleanest spot in the garage. Sarah had shown these messages to her roommate, Jessica, just 2 weeks before she disappeared. She was scared, Jessica recalls. But she was also angry. Sarah didn't like feeling helpless, and these messages made her feel like someone was controlling her life. What Sarah didn't know was that her digital stalker had been planning something far more elaborate than just watching from the shadows. The phone records from that final night revealed 13 calls to a number that would shock everyone who knew Sarah Chen. Because the last person Sarah spoke to before she vanished wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows of a parking garage. It was someone she trusted, someone she loved, someone who had been lying to her for months. But that's not even the most disturbing part of this story. What investigators discovered in Sarah's deleted text messages would reveal that she had uncovered a secret so dangerous, so damaging, that someone was willing to kill to keep it buried. Who was Sarah really texting that night? What secret had she discovered? And why did the parking garage security cameras mysteriously malfunction for exactly 47 minutes? The same 47 minutes when Sarah Chen disappeared forever. Detective Maria Santos spent 3 weeks poring over Sarah's digital footprint. What she found painted a picture of a young woman living in increasing fear, but also one who was methodically building a case of her own. You see, Sarah wasn't just a victim. She was an investigator. The deleted text messages told a story that no one, not her family, not her friends, not even her roommate Jessica, knew about. For 2 months before her disappearance, Sarah had been conducting her own investigation into someone she suspected was not who they claimed to be. It started with small inconsistencies. Stories that didn't match up, photos that seemed too perfect, a social media presence that felt manufactured. Sarah had a sharp mind. The same analytical thinking that made her an excellent nursing student also made her suspicious when details didn't align. The person Sarah was investigating? Her boyfriend of 8 months, David Morrison. David Morrison seemed like everything Sarah had ever wanted. At 28, he was successful, charming, and completely devoted to her. He was a freelance marketing consultant who worked from home, which explained why he was always available when Sarah needed him. He sent flowers to the hospital on her tough days. He remembered every important date. He even got along perfectly with her family. But Sarah's nursing training had taught her to pay attention to details, to look for patterns, to trust her instincts when something felt off. And something about David felt off. It started with the phone calls. David always answered on the first ring, but his phone would sometimes go straight to voicemail for hours at a time. He explained it away: client meetings, poor reception, dead battery. But Sarah started keeping track. The unavailable periods followed a pattern: Tuesday evenings, Thursday mornings, and every other weekend. Then there were the photos. David's social media was filled with pictures of his work trips and client dinners. But when Sarah looked closely, she noticed something disturbing. The timestamps and location data didn't match his stories. Photos supposedly taken in Chicago showed geotags from Phoenix. Client dinners in Denver were actually tagged at locations in Salt Lake City. Sarah began to suspect that David Morrison wasn't just lying about where he was. She suspected he was lying about who he was. 3 weeks before she disappeared, Sarah did something that would ultimately save her case but cost her life. She hired a private investigator. Marcus Webb, a former police detective turned PI, still remembers the day Sarah walked into his office. She was nervous, he recalls, but determined. She had this manila folder filled with printed screenshots, timeline charts, and handwritten notes. This girl had done her homework. Sarah's suspicions had grown into something much darker. She believed David was living multiple lives, possibly with multiple women. But what she uncovered was far worse than infidelity. David Morrison didn't exist. The social security number he'd given Sarah belonged to a David Morrison who had died in a car accident in 2018. The address he claimed as his apartment was actually a vacant office building. His freelance marketing business had no business license, no tax records, no digital footprint beyond a basic website created just days before he and Sarah met. The man Sarah had been dating for 8 months was a complete fabrication. But who was he really? And why had he chosen Sarah? The answer came from an unexpected source: Sarah's hospital ID badge. Sarah's access card revealed something that even she hadn't realized. Her badge didn't just get her into the general hospital areas, Her rotation in pediatric oncology had given her access to the pharmacy storage areas, including the secure medication dispensary. David Morrison, whoever he really was, hadn't fallen in love with Sarah Chen, the nursing student. He had targeted Sarah Chen, the woman with access to controlled substances worth hundreds of thousands of dollars on the black market. The deleted text messages revealed that Sarah had figured this out just days before her disappearance. She had discovered that medications were going missing from the pharmacy, small amounts that wouldn't be noticed individually, but significant when added up over months. The thefts coincided perfectly with her relationship with David. Her final deleted message, sent to the private investigator just hours before she vanished, read, "Marcus, I was right. He's been using my badge access. I have proof. I'm going to confront him tonight after my shift. If something happens to me, check the pharmacy records at Denver General. He's not just a liar, he's a thief." Now we come to that final phone call. The 13 calls to a number that shocked everyone who knew Sarah. The number didn't belong to David Morrison. It belonged to Sarah's younger brother, Michael. But here's what investigators discovered. Michael Chen's phone had been cloned. Someone had been intercepting his calls and messages for weeks, using sophisticated technology to monitor Sarah's communications with her family. When Sarah called her brother that night, she wasn't talking to Michael at all. She was talking to her killer. The voice analysis of that final call, recovered from phone company records, revealed something chilling. The person on the other end was using voice modulation software, the same technology actors used to change their voices in movies. Sarah thought she was talking to her brother, asking him to call the police if she didn't make it home safely. Instead, she was telling her stalker exactly where she was and exactly how much time he had before anyone would come looking for her. Remember those 4 to 7 minutes when the parking garage cameras mysteriously went offline? It wasn't a malfunction at all. Digital forensics revealed that someone had hacked into the hospital's security system using administrative credentials that had been stolen months earlier. The same credentials that gave access to employee records, shift schedules, and ID badge tracking data. Sarah's killer had been watching her for months, learning her routines, tracking her movements, and planning the perfect crime. But he made one crucial mistake. In his rush to disable the parking garage cameras, he forgot about the hospital's internal security system. The badge readers that tracked every door opened, every elevator used, every access point entered. Sarah's badge was used to access the pharmacy storage room at 11:52 p.m., 5 minutes after her car was found empty in the parking garage. But Sarah never made it to that room. Her badge did. The badge records led investigators to the real identity of David Morrison, James Patrick Sullivan, a 31-year-old former pharmacy technician who had been fired from 3 different hospitals for theft-related violations. Sullivan had been targeting healthcare workers across 4 states, using dating apps to meet women with access to controlled substances. Sarah was his 5th known victim, but she was the first who had figured out his scheme. When police arrested Sullivan at a motel outside Denver, they found Sarah's phone, her hospital badge, and a storage unit filled with stolen medications worth over $2 million. They also found something else, detailed profiles of 6 other women he had been targeting. But they never found Sarah. 3 months after Sullivan's arrest, a hiker in the Rocky Mountain National Park made a discovery that would bring some closure to the Chen family. Sarah's remains were found in a remote area, along with a waterproof container holding a letter she had managed to write before she died. In that letter, Sarah had written, "If someone is reading this, then James Patrick Sullivan killed me. I figured out he was stealing drugs using my hospital access. I should have gone to the police instead of confronting him myself. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I love you. Make sure they check the other hospitals where he worked. I don't think I'm his first victim." Even in her final moments, Sarah Chen was still trying to save other people. James Patrick Sullivan was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The investigation Sarah started led to the discovery of 2 other victims in Colorado and Utah. The Sarah Chen Foundation now provides safety training for healthcare workers and has helped hospitals across the country improve their security protocols for controlled substances. Her mother, Linda, still keeps Sarah's coffee mug on the kitchen counter. But now it's not empty. She fills it with fresh flowers every week, the same way Sarah used to brighten up her patients' rooms. Sarah Chen was going to be a pediatric oncology nurse. She wanted to make sick children smile. Instead, she became something else, a protector who saved lives even after losing her own. Detective Santos still keeps Sarah's case file on her desk, not because the case is unsolved, but because it reminds her why she became a police officer in the first place. Sometimes the victims become the heroes, and sometimes the people we think we know are complete strangers. Sarah Chen was 24 years old when she died. She never got to graduate from nursing school. She never got to work with those sick children she wanted to help. But her courage, her determination to uncover the truth, and her final letter saved other women from suffering the same fate. The next time you meet someone new, remember Sarah's story. Trust your instincts, ask questions, and never be afraid to investigate when something doesn't feel right. Because sometimes, asking the right questions can save your life. Rest in peace, Sarah Michelle Chen. Your story has been told, and you will not be forgotten. Thank you for watching, and remember, Sarah's story matters because Sarah mattered.